He and Jeff had kind of pictured this group, the Traveling Wilburys, and George's idea was that he would handpick everybody in the band and it'd be the perfect little band. But I think the qualifications were more about who you could hang out with, you know, more so than like trying to find the best guy that did this or that. Though George liked to surround himself with people that were good at something, you know. George rang my bell one night and came in and said, God, I just had dinner with Roy Orbison and Jeff, you know. I got this idea I've got to do an extra side for a single that I'm bringing out. I need a studio, so I called Bob Dylan, and, you know, Bob had a little studio out at his house, and so he's agreed to let me use the studio. I'm going to try to write something tonight, and we just do it, but I thought I'd have Roy on it too, and if you want, you know, maybe you'd come too. And I said, yeah, well, I'd love to come.
Being beat up and battered around, being sent up and I've been shut down. You're the best thing that I've ever found, and only with care. I'm so tired of being lonely, I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really care? Everybody's got somebody to lean on.
Bob said, well, what's it going to be called, George? You got to have a name for your song. And there was a packing crate that said, Handle with Care. And I witnessed him look over at the crate and look back and say, oh, it's Handle with Care. So we cut the track, and then we took a break to eat, and he said, okay, well, now we got to write some words, guys. You know, I got these songwriters here. Time to write a song, you know, let's write one, you know. So everyone would just throw a line out, and you'd get, no, or, you know, but sometimes a line would come out and go, oh, that's good, that's a good, oh, I like that, you know, and so that's how we did it.
It was in Pittsburgh, late one night. I lost my hat, got into a fight. Okay, that's sort of like, yeah.
Yeah, if you ignore those chords, then just sing it over the same sort of phrasing over the next bit, we can change the chord.
Or the other thing would be, if we back it up now, don't play you that, and you sing the second off the lyrics of the same chords, and we'll copy it and put it in, right?
Yeah, do that, yeah.
That'll be,
yeah.
Then we'll...
Let's try that then.
Yeah, that sounded good. We'll double that.
You could have chosen to retire into contented middle age and get together with a few friends in the musical business and play together occasionally.
Well, that's what the Wilburys is. Really.
Contented middle age.
I suppose so.
He loves your electric dumpling. He loves your clothes and stretch. He loves your fuel injection. He loves your service charge. He loves your 5-speed gearbox. He loves your long endurance. He loves your quest for junk food. He loves your big refrigerator.
It's okay, I don't mad about clothes that stretch. Very English, clothes that stretch.
It's a bit of a joke, the idea of a comeback, you know. Especially to me, you know.
Why?
Seems, I don't know, because I don't really see myself as a fully fledged showbiz star anyway, you know, like that.
George, why do you play music? Why do you still play music? Just to enjoy?
Yeah, no, just, well, we got to do something, you know, with our lives.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I know what to do, you know, how to do.
Hello, Neil. How are you? Hello, George. Nice to see you. Very nice. Hello. It's a vegetarian leather jacket. Yeah? Yes.
Oh, is that a film?
Yeah, I've got you. You're looking
Oh,
very
I've
bright.
seen it. This is the one I can see. Go on, turn it off. Yeah, I can see.
No, I don't want to turn it off. I've seen it. Sharpie, I've seen the advert for this. Hold it.
Who is this?
Stefan. John.
Oh, is it?
John Lennon of the Beatles.
Oh, that's what's her name?
Pat.
Who's this?
We don't know that.
Oh,
Some other lady.
God, they were horrible.
Lady of the night.
Horrible girls, weren't they?
No, George, it's a very fine leg. It's a nice bit of stocking top.
Ooh.
Just because you've graduated in the world. They're fine ladies.
You know, they say in this life you have to perfect one human relationship in order to really love God. You practice loving God by loving another human and by giving unconditional love. George's most important relationships really were conducted through their music and their lyrics. I mean, George, that's I'd Have You Any Time, the song that George and Bob wrote together. You know, let me in here, I know I've been here, let me into your heart. He was talking directly to Bob because, you know, he'd seen Bob and then he'd seen Bob another time and he didn't seem as open. And so that was his way of saying, let me in here, let me into your heart. And he was very unabashed and romantic about it in a sense. You know, I found that he was very... he had these love relationships with his friends. He loved them.
It was very early in the morning. I think my wife took a call and then woke me up and told me that Roy had passed away. And then the next call was George. I don't even know if I should say what he said to me, you know, but I will anyway. When I came to the phone, he said, "Aren't you glad it's not you?" I said, yeah, I am, you know. He goes, you know, he said, he'll be okay. He'll be okay. He's still around. He said, just listen. He's still around. And then that was all he had to say about it, you know.
Say farewell to the end of this reel.
write it so that, you know, I mean, you don't want to milk it into some huge big thing.
No, of course.
I mean, I'd prefer you were to be honest about it.
No, that's not.
You know, 'cause there's nothing worse than, you know, bullshit, you know what I mean? And then all it does is it means everybody else starts phoning up and then they want their version of it. You know? I'm sorry, I mean, we're all going to die one day, but I'm not going to die for you quite yet.
You wouldn't want that.
Well, you never know. I think it makes a good story, doesn't it?
When it was first...
When he was first diagnosed with cancer, he told me, and in a way, as you know, his main thing was not to upset me. I mean, there was a man who's not well, who was worrying about me and all the people around him. So that was the measure of the man. And then, of course, it was with great joy that he actually got better initially, and so things were back on track, and we all put it to the back of our minds that this was gone now.
I woke up, I just heard smashing of glass. I jumped up, I woke up George. It must have been about 4:30 in the morning. And I said, somebody's smashed a window. And he said, how do you know? I said, I heard it. So he jumped up, and I ran to the door and I locked the door. And he said, why are you locking the door? I said, why? Because I'm afraid. That's why I'm locking the door. He said, no. I'm going out there. And so he ran downstairs, which he really didn't have to do, but he felt he had to do because my mother was upstairs, and he didn't want, you know, he didn't know if she was okay. We had a statue of St. Michael, and the wing from the statue of St. Michael was made of stone, had been thrown through the window. And George was on one side and I was on the other, and we looked down and this maniac just ran in like a Beelzebub with a stick from St. Michael in one hand. You know, he slays the dragon with his spear. He had that in one hand, and I didn't see what he had in the other, but anyway, George started chanting really loud at him. And this guy was saying, you know, get down here, you know, what do you want? He said, you know what I want. It was just horrible. It was just like this voice from the bowels of hell. And then he just tore up the stairs. He was in a florid psychotic state, and he was tall and young. And they'd come closer to where the room was, and this man was on top of George, trying to kill him, just laying on him in just, I think, the worst way, to have some, you know, physical contact with some horrible person. Anyway, I just ran back in the room, and I don't know, something just took over, and I grabbed a poker. My dad was a big baseball fan, and he used to always say, follow through. That's all I could think of was, don't throw like a girl. Follow through. I mean, it got worse. It just got worse, because I hit the guy several times. You know, I could see the blood spreading down his blonde hair, and then he got up. You know, he got up and he chased me and had me around the neck, and then George got up and jumped on his back. And poor George, he said, you know, God, just when he got off of me, I was thinking, oh, good. Then I had to get up and fight him again. And he'd already been stabbed. But we all fell into a big pile, and I managed to get out from underneath, and George pinned him down. And George said to me, I've got the knife. And I thought, what knife? You know, I didn't know. I thought he was just kidding. I thought he was just trying to fake the guy out, saying, I've got the knife. It's like, I hadn't seen that. Afterwards, we were taken to a good old National Health Hospital with these rickety wheelchairs at 4 in the morning, and it was like freezing. It was so cold. I was just shaking. I didn't realize I was in shock, but you know, they were pushing us down, and we were looking at each other, and we got us in these beds, and they put the curtain around us, and he had a collapsed lung. He had things in and out the other side, in and outside of his leg. You know, I had my head open, and you know, but just looking in